What it is, Bradley, back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, as always, I got a real treat for you. You may know who he is. A lot of people used to know who he is until they fucking pressed a button and said, no more out of you, sir. And you're probably one of the most canceled individuals on the planet, Owen Benjamin.
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, I'm so canceled, they don't even bring me up in the list of canceled people. It's so funny. Dude.
That's
like
fucking
Voldemort.
funny right there, dude. And also, for those of you that don't know, you're a comedian technically, but why'd you get canceled?
The trans kid thing, and just a lack of cucking, you know.
The trans kid thing. What did you say about a trans kid?
Well, I was, at CAA. I just gotten off Sullivan and Son, like a sitcom, Leno, Fallon.
Packing arenas.
Not arenas, but I was like on the wall at the Hollywood Improv, like the picture and all that. I was
you were on your way up for sure.
Yeah, I was a high level working non-A-list comic. I like had all those credits. I was the lead of a Netflix comedy. I've been in.
But do you think if you didn't say the trans kid thing, you would have ended up like a well-known?
I don't know. I think my personality, you kind of have to go along with something messed up to get to that next rung, And it was the kid thing that did it, because I used to be like pretty lenient on everything until they said like a 7-year-old could transition. And I was just like very publicly calling it,
stupid.
what it is. Well, it sexualizes kids. And so CAA dropped me, my tour got dropped.
Why do you think CAA dropped you? Why would a company, a reputable company, well, apparently not that reputable, but CAA, that's a major agency that handles a lot of Hollywood A-list celebrities. That's not a little freaking management
it's the top one. Yeah,
it's one of it's if not the top one. CAA, they're huge.
Yeah,
they're representing like I don't want to be quoted because I'm not sure of this, but people like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Kevin Hart, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like they have massive stars.
Yeah. I think they're in the social engineering game too, and a lot of it has to do with just culture.
So what's that mean? They make stars?
Yeah, and it's just like compliance to behavior is more important than money. I don't think they're that concerned with money as much as
you say what I want you to say.
Yeah.
And you know what? That in the Hollywood business, that's creating these icons and these celebrities, bunch of old people in the background, allowing it just so they have a voice and an influence with all these people in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, influence is the whole power,
So you weren't lured by influence because again, you were in the mix. You were invited to the party. You were a headliner.
Yeah.
And then you saw an ad, or what did you see to make you comment publicly on a trans kid?
It was a specific guy. It was this guy, Jesse Thorne. He was like an NPR radio guy. And he was talking about a 6-year-old going on hormone blockers. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just directly am tweeting at him like how horrible that is. And then everyone's calling me, dude, take it down, take it down, take it down. And that was the thing. And it was just this explosion. It was like my life. And I just had my first kid.
Why do you think the LGBT plus QA, whatever the acronym is now, because it keeps evolving.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're so powerful? Do you think all the people in the positions are all gay?
I don't know, man. I mean, I think they got real good at networking in the steam rooms back in the AIDS days, maybe. But it's but I think a lot of them are trapped, and they know they're trapped. Cause okay, like here's an example.
That's fucking hilarious.
Which is the irony about this. The more they're accepted, the less power they have. Because now that they're at like Target, it's like they don't have that fun vampire networking vibe. So
what do you mean? What do you mean they're at Target?
Like at Target, it's like dress gay this year. It's like they're mainstream corporate.
Well, I think it's not necessarily dress gay. They're just trying to include the gays.
Yeah, which kind of ruins the gays' power. It's so ironic. Like, because being the outsiders motivated them to be in these like chat rooms, like, oh, someone's going against us. Like, you know, now they're just like, I don't know. It's ironic. But did you hear the Dave Chappelle joke? Caitlyn Jenner was Woman of the Year, but hasn't been a woman for a year. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I wrote that 6 years before. And the whole LGBT thing about it's a hedonic treadmill. Like, it started with the L's. And my bit was like, they're just into like Subarus and knickknacking. And then you got the G's. And, you know, they like real estate and cocaine, you know, and then the B's, they'll F anybody. Anybody? Yeah. So I do this whole bit about it gets to the T's. And then that's when like the metaphysics of truth start melting down. And so Chappelle does the whole bit, except makes it a little more inverted. And I had done it, you know, years before.
Well, he got away with it.
Yeah, because he did it after the event. So I did it as Caitlyn Jenner is being rolled out. Millions of views on YouTube. And then they delete my YouTube channel. And then Chappelle does it like years later. And Kanye West, you know, Ye called him out on Alex Jones, where he's like, you're stealing Owen Benjamin's jokes.
Oh,
and
no
so
shit.
Black Twitter had my back, but nobody else would talk about it because it's like, it's all about timing with these bits. So it's like, while it was happening, I was doing it. And then they're like, okay, 4 years later, you know, we've chopped off a bunch of weens. We're good now. Now you can do the bit. And that's why, you know, I was canceled for the timing. It wasn't what I said. It was like the timing of it.
Yeah, it was too soon.
Yeah, I'm always really quick to seeing through something. And then they're like,
what'd you
dude,
say about the trans kid?
I just said a kid can't consent to that. It's, you know, and then my life just changed dramatically because I started seeing evil everywhere. Like I like didn't realize how evil, you know, people were being. Cause I was like, oh yeah, why would everyone's just living their life. You know, some people show love through sodomy or whatever, you know? And cause I was talking to a gay friend about that. I'm like, he was like, it's love. I'm like, dude, I love my brother. He's a guy. Like the last thing I want to do to like show love is like jam something in his you know? And he was like, I'm like, that act doesn't seem loving to me. Like Norm Macdonald had that bit where he's like, no one ever said that they're going to make love to someone's ass. You know?
Well, again, I'm on your side of the fence on this, but again, to me, if somebody wants to fucking, you know, ram slam their freaking male friend and the male friend's okay with it, as long as you're not doing it in front of my kid or trying to get my kid to join you, I'm okay. Go ahead, do your thing in your business. That's your business. Just like, you know, some guys like, you know, humongous 390-pound women. I ain't mad at them.
Yeah, no, 100%. But they went for the kids. That's like the whole thing. And they also were trying to say that I had to say it's beautiful. You know, like I'm like, yo, that's what you like. That's how you show love.
So people came to you and said, hey, we want you to say the narrative.
Dude, they always do that.
Did they do that before they canceled you, or you said it and boom, you're off? Or did they warn you?
No, they always try. And before it was about guns too. I'm like totally for gun ownership. And they're like, well, you know, come on. But they didn't cancel me over that because it was more light. I was making fun of Beyonce.
Who was coming to have these conversations?
You know, my manager, who was a good dude, like I have no hard feelings because he didn't moralize me. He was like, bro, come on, man. It's making my life hard, which is fine.
So that's how it starts.
Yeah.
They get your manager, the person closest to you, to try and get you off the ledge, so to speak.
Yeah. Cause he's like, dude, I'm getting calls. He's like, cause before it'd be kind of funny. He's like, you just got a development deal with Disney. Did you say the Ebola virus looks like Mickey Mouse? And I'm like, yeah, it just has the ears. He's like, dude, can you just delete that?
How do these motherfuckers know everything you're saying?
They monitor everything.
Is that
and
crazy?
I would delete that. I'm like, yeah, good point. They just paid me $100,000 for like 8 pages of comedy. So I don't need to do the Mickey Mouse thing with Ebola. But the kid thing, I'm like, I'm not going to pull back. And they're like, my agent pretended I was like evil because of it. And those are the people I resent.
But when you say pull back, you mean recant what you said you
Yeah,
believed.
like delete tweets, pretend trans kids are like a real thing.
Well, let's talk about that for 5 seconds.
Sure.
Only because, you know, I have my own opinions on things. But, you know, do you even believe there's such a thing as a trans kid?
No.
Yeah, so it's just a kid.
Dude.
It's not a trans kid.
Like I have 4 kids under 8.
And wouldn't they have to trans before they're trans?
Dude, it's such nonsense. I can't even make fun of it. I'm like, so what's the reality that I'm mocking? It's just like nonsense.
Well, in my observational skills, I've recognized that the trans community wants to be recognized as, regular preferences. And that's another thing. You heard of pedophilia now? They're trying to call it child. There's a word now that
minor attracted person.
Yeah, minor attracted person. Like, what the fuck is that? That's called a pedophile. Well, that sounds too rough. Rough for whom? Pedophiles?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, dude, who's catering to pedophiles? And why all of a sudden are pedophiles off limits? Well, then you start to think, well, who's making these fucking rules?
That's the thing.
The pedophiles.
Right.
I'm telling you, when it comes to freaking messing with kids, dude, I'm talking about the little youngsters. I ain't talking about the, 14-year-olds that are out hooking. Like, again, that's sad. That's parenting. I'm talking about the 6-year-olds and the 9-year-olds that are being trafficked. And by the way, one time I was talking about trafficked on here, and dude, the episode got like 1 million views in 3 days on YouTube. Because again, most of my downloads come from audio podcast listeners. Like, yeah, you go to my YouTube channel and look at this video, it might get, well, with you on it might get a bunch more, but like average, 10,000, nothing major. People are like, well, dude, there's only 10,000 people that watch your show. I'm like, dude, that's YouTube. But I put this on YouTube, which is hard to get views on YouTube. I put this on YouTube, and 3 days it had 1.7 million views, and boom, they shut it off. And all we were talking about is what's going on with this child trafficking. And this dude on my show had an opinion about it. And, I got proof of this, and boom, shut it down.
Yeah. They love traumatizing the youth. It just opens them up for all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it used to drive me so insane that it was like bad. So that's why I focus on what I can build, being a good dad, I homeschool, build community, build everything I can.
By the way, before it gets too far into the show, if you guys, love this dude already and want to support his ass, you built your own platforms.
Yeah.
They canceled. You said, screw it. And you built your own.
They can't cancel. All they can do is take away comforts. They can be like, you're not allowed in my table in the cafeteria. I'm like, okay, man, I'm pretty sure you're a pedophile.
Yeah. And you're building your own table then.
Yeah. You build your own table. And dude, it's a wide world. I mean, America's still got it. You can still build your own table. So OwenBenjamin.com for the new special. We shot it on our own land. They're like, you can't use our stuff. I'm like, okay. And calling the bluff is so interesting because then they want you back.
Well, not only that, especially if they get support. And I got a large audience to support, I think, a lot of your beliefs. We're going to get to most of them and then they'll decide. But
yeah. And even the numbers you were talking about, it's also who's watching. Like, I'd rather have 3,000 legends than 10 million dipshits, Like, it's
me too. See?
It's who's watching. People get People fetishize numbers, and I'm like, dude, I've been in stuff that has gotten 100 million, but it's like low vibrational people, and it does. And then you'll have something get like 500 views, but it's just legends. And I'd rather have that. I'd rather be like where the water starts at the top of the mountain than the swamp shit,
Hey, that's right. That's right. So, but go to OwenBenjamin.com because he's got a special that's just got released. Go get it. Go watch it. Go support him because it's ultimately supporting you.
Yeah. And it's supporting, people complain a lot about media. They say the media. And I'm like, we can be the media. You can just watch something else. And so we also have our own social media, Bertaria Times. And the motto is the good, the true, the beautiful. So if you go there, it's just people starting families, building homesteads, starting businesses. It's really beautiful to see. And then unauthorized.tv, where all of my streams are, and getting canceled so many times, like I'd have to get these like super autistic dudes to find all my old episodes. And then we have our own servers, it's out of Switzerland.
So they can't take you off of that.
No. I mean, no, it's like there's always options. It's like a fun game.
Is it like the new Rumble or Truth or whatever it's called?
No, it's just me and a couple other guys. It's just for it's just our stuff. It's only $5 a month. It has 190 days of entertainment. like days, like 24-hour days, 190 days.
So you have programming on there?
Yeah, like, well, I mean, programming's an intense word, huh?
But there's videos.
Oh, tons. Like 7-hour
Someone
specials.
could sit there and start watching something as a family. What kind of stuff's on there?
Well, my stream's not very family, but like the recent special there's no sexuality in it. It's pretty family friendly. I don't even swear.
Do you bring up the trans thing?
Yeah, but I talk about caterpillars and butterflies. Like I'm talking about how I like caterpillars, but sometimes they spend a little too much time alone in the cocoon and they become like goo, and then they emerge like a lispy, like painted, and then does the butterfly regret it and want to be a caterpillar? Like a kid could watch it and have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's about the trans thing.
Now, so back to the trans thing. Trans kid, because when I hear that word, I think, it's just a kid. They're not trans unless someone gave them the blockers and they're now the opposite of what they were. Now they've because isn't trans for transitioned?
Yeah, like the endocrine system too. That's when I was like, this is insane. Like if I don't go against this, like I'm not a man I would respect. Cause like it's one thing if you're like, okay, today you're a lion, like you're playing make-believe, versus like we're now going to affect your ability to make testosterone. And as a guy who has goats and cows and all that, I'm like, dude, they're castrating kids. So it's like something to really look at.
Well, I think that might be a parenting issue as well.
100% it is. Yeah.
Like, I have a little girl named Chloe. She said on a couple of occasions, as a baby would, I'm a boy. And I said, no, you're not. You're a girl. And that's what she'll be told because that's what she is.
Yeah.
Period. There's no, oh, you get to decide, honey. That's almost crazy thinking. But dude, you are proof that there are people that actually believe that.
Dude, there's a $100 million industry of hormones for kids. Yeah, it's no longer in the DSM-5 that's like a mental disorder to think.
So you can change your gender,
can chop off the wing,
but you can't drink a beer.
Dude, it's insanity. Yeah, and so it is a parenting issue. Like I got little kids.
You can't get a tattoo, can you, without parent permission?
No.
And you're telling me a parent doesn't have to sign off on getting a kid transitioned?
No, and they have victim consciousness. They pretend that they're like saving the kid. Like that's the craziest thing. That's why evil has to just keep going. It's the hedonic treadmill because it's like, once you get accepted, you have to get to the next layer to pretend you're persecuted. That's why they're going to pedos. It's like if you think of the whole spectrum, like a lesbian with a Subaru likes softball, lives alone, has a cat. Like that's.
Well, I got to tell you though, I'm a lesbian.
Me too. I get it.
Nothing wrong with lesbians.
No, I know, but that's like the least weird. And then you just keep going until it's like, pansexual, minor attracted, because they have to keep going.
But you just said it. That's where it gets weird. But it gets weird for us. It doesn't get weird for them.
It gets weird for. I think it's always super weird for them. I think they're trying to project their internal world on the world, where they're like, if you accepted me, I'd be happy. But then you get accepted and you're not happy, and that's when they get really sad. Because you're like, oh no, you're beautiful. You're totally hot. Hey, Bruce, you're like smoking hot. It's like, hey, no, I'm not. And then that's when their whole world collapses. Because they're like, because your strength is internal. You're what someone, Target has a big ad like, oh, being trans is hot. And you still don't feel worth it.
Do they really?
Well, they're like making it seem like, like you're special and beautiful if you're like.
Yeah, but do you think for a moment, just a moment, that all they're trying to do is make the ones that are, let's call it afflicted. That's probably not politically correct either, because that implies there's something wrong with them. But the ones that are affected or
affected is cool.
Or
that's
the ones that I
judge.
identify as, whatever the word is.
Identifiers.
Yeah. So the identifiers are being included and not to feel left out. Dude, back when they started giving everybody a trophy instead of just the winner.
I'm 6'8". No one has my shoes. No one gives a shit. Dude, being 6'8", I go into every store and I'm like, do you have size 15? They're like, oh. I'm like, I'm afflicted, you know?
Dude, I had to experience that going in Mexico to buy shoes.
Oh yeah. They probably put a net over me and start like you know?
Dude, 12 in Mexico is like a 15 here.
Dude, totally. Tall people. I mean, like a parking garage. It's like 6'5" is the limit. I'm like, no one cares about me because I don't make a bunch of phone calls. I don't have a lobby. Like the trans world is so much smaller than my size.
Okay, so again, I want to get back to Hollywood and this whole thing because I want to expose who's behind it. Who do you think is behind it? Like for the laws to change and for that much support and reaction to somebody speaking out against them, that means that the people that make the laws must be one of them.
Yeah, I think it's a big black mirror. That's why I take responsibility now. I'm like, they're almost representing the zeitgeist of the people. That's why I'm like, we got to not watch porn, be good parents, grow our own food. Because I think those sickos just kind of represent the desires and the sins of the people. And I know
you think it's Satanism?
Yeah, I think it's that void of gratitude, of faith, like all that stuff. You know, I think a lot of them are sick Satanists, but they're kind of like feeding what people are doing. And that's why I'm all about changing the root, where I'm like, we got to change so that we feed the good thing. And then that kind of starves what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, but ideally that sounds wonderful. But again, like I didn't know where to find you before
I know,
this. But because it's their platform, it's their stages. You were on their stages.
Totally.
And then you started saying shit they don't like. So they said, get off my stage. And then you're like, fuck you. There's a lot of people that like what I say and agree with what I say.
Yeah.
So I'm going to build my own stage. But then nobody knows how to find your stage because they kick you off all the big stages. Well, so how do you get people to know about your stage now?
Well, that's the thing is 70,000 a day. Like, I think like our concept of numbers is so wild now where that's like a king of a city state in like ancient Italy, you know? I'm like 70,000 people a day. I'm like, my people, the butterfly, you know? And they're like, but Bert Kreischer got 100 million for taking a shit. And I'm like, yeah, Bert's, you know, he's doing his thing. That's fine.
But he's
like,
on the stage.
He's on the stage, but they don't let you on the stage unless you take the shit.
That's what I was going to say. So like, what about all these other guys that are on the stage? Like Kevin Hart, like.
Yeah, there's some guys that have ridden the.
Like, who's that kid that.
I like Nate Bargatze does a good job.
Most comedians that I talk to say that's a comedian.
Nate does a good job at being like a good dude on the stage.
What about he's younger dude, chicks love him.
Matt Rife.
Yeah, Matt Rife.
Yeah, he's funny. He doesn't do overtly evil stuff. Yeah, like, listen, I'm from a small, aggressive, drunk town, so I can overreact. So, like, I get why I've rubbed people the wrong way because I don't really feel fear. It just immediately alchemizes into, like, anger and hostility, and I've worked on that over the years. But there are ways to stay more on the stage and you don't have to be like a maniac like me. But I was pretty freaked out when I first saw that stuff.
Yeah. Well, again,
same with the COVID stuff. Like when they're like, you can't go to your father's funeral and you have to put plastic on your kid's head. I'm like, no one will ever wear a mask. We grow our own food. And, you know, I get how that rubs people the wrong way, but I just wouldn't ever put a mask on. I'm like,
so it's obvious that you didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, I don't like the liquid soap shit. I'm like, does this make you gay? Like, I'm pretty skeptical.
Or why are you so gay phobic?
Well, gay like weak, not gay like sodomy gay. I don't know. Like, what's the other gay? Like, when I say gay, I mean like the
lame.
Special boy. You know, like only the best for me. Like no testosterone. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like how we meant gay before Target took over.
When it was all just fun and games or fun and gays.
Yeah, where it's like,
dude, here's what I don't understand about the gay thing.
If you drink a lot of tea or like you rollerblade a lot, you know, I'm not making a claim on his sexuality. I'm just like, it's just gay, you know?
Yes, I do. But again, I'm on this, make sure everybody understands what I believe so I can stand behind it.
Yeah.
So I always like, be careful what I say, because again, I would say even if you were against gays, like I got no problem with gay people. If you want to be gay, be gay. But that's just me being, live and let live. I don't care if you're gay. Again, I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to endorse. I'm not going to freaking allow it around me. But again, like you want to be gay, be gay. I don't care about gay people. In fact, I used to date a hairdresser when I was 18 and everyone that she worked with were gay.
I thought you were about to say he.
No, everybody that she worked with were gay dudes. And so when I hung out with her, I was hanging out with the gay dudes. And the gay dudes were the most fucking fun I've ever had.
Dude, like, 100%.
They were fucking funny. They had fun, but they weren't trying to hit on me. And they weren't, like perverted gay. They just happened to like men. Well, again, for me, that's fucking extremely weird. How could you like a dick rather than a vagina? But whatever. If that's what you like, brother, go after it.
No, I'm with you. And just to show that I'm not a hypocrite.
Just like slamming people in the old ring hole. Dude, listen, have you ever stuck a gun in the dirt and then looked at the barrel?
Dirt filthy.
Yeah, like I listen, not that I'm an angel, but like, dude, listen, my goal is not to stick it there.
It should be no one's goal.
Yeah, but to me, it's like I'm not mad that you do it, and I know couples that think I'm crazy because I'd prefer not to do that.
Bro, I like used to be horrified that they even had one. And I just want the gays out there to know.
That's like saying girls don't shit.
Dude, I used to literally, it freaked me. Like I've had issues with that. So
me too.
Like legit.
Me too. Like I
I find shit so disgusting. It's like insane. Like I used to like.
Yeah, but girls are supposed to be soft and pretty and lovely and smell good and they're great. When you get one that fucking leaves the door open, plops down, drops a deuce, burps, farts, scratches her butt and walks out. Like to me, that ain't a chick. That's not a girl. That's a dude.
Yeah, and for all the gays out there, I don't think straights should teach sex ed to kids. Like I think like dudes that like are banging tons of chicks and being pervs that are heterosexual, I call that gay. I'm like, get a wife, get tons of kids, be moral. So I've had tons of gay friends. What's that?
How many kids do you have?
4. Yeah, you have more. I know. I respect that. You told me that was one of the first things you told me about you. I was like, oh, legend. That's the only time I feel envy. Like people have all this like money or like, oh, this dude just did a stadium. I'm like, yawn. This dude has 8 kids. I'm like, oh, must be nice. Swear to God.
Well, just keep fucking. That's all I did.
Dude, great move. But yeah, I mean, I still have friends that are gay. Like I'm not like, oh, I can't even see you anymore. I just.
So you're like me. You're not against them. You just gave your opinion about a kid being able to decide whether or not they're gay or straight or trans.
And don't make me have to say I think it's good. I don't think being a drunk is good. I used to drink alcohol every single night. Imagine someone being like, I am an alcoholic BDS and we're here to stay and we're beautiful. I'm like, no, dude, you get drunk and talk about your ex and you cry and you puke.
Yeah, or get in fights and do stupid shit.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'll still be your buddy, but don't make it seem like you're brave for getting shit-faced. And it's like, aren't I allowed to love? I'm like, yeah, give long hugs. I'm like, long hugs.
Is that what they say? Am I not allowed to love?
I've literally had a friend say that. He's like, you get to love. Why can't I love? I'm like, your love doesn't make a baby an ass doesn't make a baby.
They're arguing that now.
Dude, they're arguing it now, man.
They are arguing.
They're like, no, a baby can come from an ass. I'm like,
yeah, they're called butt babies.
Dude, butt babies are not real.
I just heard that video coincidentally like last week, and there's this woman and she's testifying in like Congress, like it's a official trial or something she's in, and the guy's questioning her like the congressmen do in those those committees.
Yeah,
and it's not possible for a man to have a baby, and she's like, well, absolutely it is. And then basically she said, are you a doctor? And he goes, no. And she goes, well, I am. So why don't you take my word for it? They can be born in the anus. And I said, what? Men can get pregnant and have a baby from the ass, she said. And I said, I'm thinking, dude, what in the fuck am I watching? Is this AI generated fucking comedy? But then he said, oh yeah. And she said, yes, they're actually called butt babies.
Unbelievable.
Did you see that video?
Dude, I've lived it for years. Like, and then I'll laugh and they'll go, that's not funny. I'm like, are you a comedian? You know, like you can just do the same game with them. You're like, I'm a professional comedian, so I get to say what's funny. You claiming there's a baby in a guy's ass is funny.
It is funny. It's not only funny, but it's scary at the same time. Because, dude, who's setting these rules?
Dude, it's like lies, man. It's like Tower of Babel stuff. It's like when the lie keeps growing, every bit just becomes more of an abomination until it just falls down. And it's for their own good. I'm like, the more you guys go with this butt baby shit, you're not going to have any food. You know, it's like,
why?
It's
Why
out of love. Like,
food?
I'm doing this out of love. Like, I don't have like vicious fantasies. I'm like, guys, if we're thinking that a baby comes out of a butt, you're not going to have like steak and vegetables.
Why though?
Because then what does an onion come out of a butt? Does beef come out of a butt? No, you have to farm it. Right? In nonsense world where your imagination and your feelings are reality, there's no food. Like, because I farm every day. Like,
what did you eat today?
Well, today I didn't eat very well.
What'd you eat?
I had some grilled cheeses from Starbucks.
Ugh.
No, I normally eat like a champ, but it's like I live on a farm in Idaho, so it's like I wake up, you know, my kids are collecting eggs, I'm milking goats and cows, my wife's making cheese and butter. I'm
you
like,
kill your own food?
Yeah. And I do it with honor. Like I give them good lives. Because I understand factory farming's horrifying. I think it curses. I think there's like a real curse there. So I have like some treaties with the vegetarians because I'm like, you guys have good points, but you know, if you raise them right, there's a good way to eat meat.
And kill them right.
Kill them right's the whole thing.
It's like you can't terrify the shit out of them.
No, the fear is the whole problem. And if you do it right, they like lie down. They're like, but I name them and I can't kill any of my goats. They're like my buddies now. So now I just take care of like 25 goats.
Well, again, as far as animals go, dude, I believe that they are here for us.
Oh, dude, it's a fact.
They're not equal to us, and there's people that do think they are, and they should be. And it's like, see, this is where you cross the line and get stupid. This is stupid talk.
That's Satan. It's satanic.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's satanic. It's just stupid. Like, are you fucking stupid? Just like saying, you know, the presidential candidates right now. Well, there's one in particular, that is nowhere near the best we can do. And we're acting like that's the best we can do. Like that's the best we got right there. That's the one right there.
But she is the best at what she does, which I think is really bad though.
Well, dude, I just did a little bit of research. Now, again, granted, I could be being fed lies from the machine.
Talking about Willie Brown?
Just all the shit you know about her.
Dude,
like
Brown
you're
Willie?
telling me that is the best possible candidate to run the United States of America. Are you out of your fucking mind? Now, someone could say, well, do you think Trump is? I do not think Trump is the best candidate, but I think he's the best of the two. Why? Well, because, dude, he's a businessman that's made billions of dollars. What has she done?
Willie Brown.
Yeah.
And if you thought about this though, this is why sometimes I think that there's like a comedian writing this shit, because it's like, oh, did you hear she serviced a man's genitalia named Willie Brown? I'm like, and he has a brown Willie, you know? And then I'm like, is that written that way? Like Magic Johnson beat AIDS, so he has a magical Johnson. Like, I don't know. Do you think that that's written, or is it just coincidence?
I think that might be coincidence. But if this is a matrix, maybe it's written into the program.
Willie Brown.
To get right past the people that aren't being observant. Because
that's what I think it
seems
is.
like you're very observant.
Dude, yeah, you see stuff and then people get mad at you that you see stuff.
Well, to me, when I think, you know, because you hear all this, you know, trans issues going on.
Yeah.
I always think like, who gives a fuck, dude? Like, you know, there needs to be a trans bathroom. Well, no, you need to put tampons in the men's bathroom. See, nope, that's where you draw the line. Go ahead, make a trans bathroom. Then it's their choice. You don't force girls to be with guys, and you don't force guys to be with girls. Who cares what they think they are? What do we think they are? So again, if I walk into a female bathroom as a man that identifies as a woman, am I a trans?
No, how about a trans bathroom with just a big mirror and just arrows, and it's just like, look closely, and that's all it is. And the trans just has to look and be like, yeah, you're not a chick. Because like when I had kids, I got a lot more morality based because I didn't know what I deserved. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just some guy. But when you see a little kid, it's like, you got a little daughter and a guy with a ween is going to be in a bathroom with her? No.
And again, I don't care what they identify with. And not only that, if they identify incorrectly, it just shows that they're mentally incapable of regular thought, let's just say. So again, back to those views, it's like somebody's agreeing with this, and that's scary because to get the kind of support they get and to make it like you're canceled, like the whole world is canceling you because you don't identify or agree with. And it's like, wait a minute, who's enforcing these things? They must be with them.
Or
why are they with
really
them?
like
Why is everybody with them?
Or are they like humiliating man?
Well, dude, if I were a trans and, I thought I had some power to, get our people some attention and whatnot, and you put me in charge, well, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to protect the trans. I'm going to protect my community. That's natural for everybody, parent, child, all of it. So I think this way anyway. I'm thinking, okay, so like, let's take schools as an example. There's books in schools that are available to third graders on how to perform fellatio. Some people don't believe that to be true, but it is 100% true.
Yeah.
And my question would be, why does a third grader need to understand fellatio? Now, that in and of itself should be the reason the book ain't in there, but I'll even go a step further. Let's pretend they have the reasons why they do. Okay, then I say, well, who here disagrees with me? If all those teachers think a third grader needs to learn about sucking dick, I don't want that teacher around that third grader. So who's deciding the book's in there? Who made the decision to allow that book in there? Somebody knows that book's in there. They know every book that's in there. Someone said, yes, this book can be in here for third graders. That's the person you need to fucking replace. That's the person that needs to be fired. And you don't need to replace it with someone on the extreme other side. Like, oh, those guys need to be hung. Like, no, replace it with someone like me. No.
Ankle monitors.
Yeah, just, hey, listen, like, for example, the tampons in the little boys' bathrooms at these places, they're starting to do it, dude. And I'm thinking, okay, well, let the, community be included. We're not going to shame you. We're not going to be mean to you. We'll recognize you. We understand that you believe this. And so, hey, I'll honor that. But you're not changing what we believe based on what you believe. So guess what? We're going to compromise. Instead of you going into the men's bathroom or the female bathroom, whichever one's the confusing part for you, you go into the trans bathroom.
Exactly.
Or letting men compete in female sports. Like men. Well, no, they're not men. You don't understand, Brad. Oh, I fully understand. They used to be one if they're not still one. Because in my mind, they're still one. You can't change that shit. Mentally, you can think it, but you ain't changing it physically. They're dudes. So you let a dude into a female fucking sport and then celebrate them as the winner as if they're actually the winner. No, dude, go set up a trans conference. Like there's the women, there's the men. Oh, you guys want to be included? Great. Let's get the trans Olympics going. Then y'all can join. And you can all compete against each other. And if a trans man wants to fucking pound the shit out of a trans female or whatever the case may be, like, hey, they're all agreeing to be there. Let them be there. But I would not go the extreme other way and say, no, now we have to change what we're doing to benefit you. Like, no, like, who's making these fucking judgments?
Yeah. And I'm reasonable. I'll negotiate. I'm like, I'll agree to get you a trans bathroom. We just play soft clown music in it.
Yeah, but that's funny. But
no, I know what you're saying about
would ruin discussions. But that's where they go. See,
that's why I'm not on Vimeo. But it's but it's like, so my opinion on this about who's doing it, it's mostly who's not saying anything, and I think it's mostly about debt and fear. Because I saw that. I'm like, dude, I know you know better. Like, why are you not agreeing with me?
You mean other
comedians, other people? Yeah. And it's like debt, people they're like, I can't lose my job. I
love the money.
Right. And that's most of it is just cowardice. And so
yeah, that I agree with. So you gotta be willing to stand up and fucking sacrifice.
That's why I love you talking about business stuff with people. And I've been telling people like, the real slavery is like debt. Like, do you owe someone? Like, I paid off my wife's college loans and I felt like I was buying her from Jabba the Hutt. I'm like, I get my woman now, unchain her. So I don't have any debt. And people, are like, and to me, that's freedom. Like, we lived in a barn for a year as we built a house because I didn't want debt. And I'm like, because debt makes you think, if I got to pay this every month, I got kids, how bad is it just for just one dick in the girl's room? You start negotiating with yourself. And, but I'm with you though about don't go the other way and be this like tyrannical psycho, especially in the world we live in. It's all about like being reasonable, but I'm not going to change how I view the world.
Well, and everybody I think listening to this show would agree with you, including me. I don't think we should change our views.
Yeah.
I don't think we should shut up about them. I think, at least in the United States of America, men and women have died, so we didn't have to. And so now that these rules are coming into play and it's just, to me, mind-boggling. I feel as if I'm in a movie and this is just a plot.
Totally.
Like, this is unbelievable in some cases to me, and it just makes zero sense. And I look around and everybody that I know says the same thing. So I'm wondering who agrees with this? And the answer might be nobody, not the majority, at least.
Yeah.
The few that are in the positions. And so like, that's why I wonder why the majority, us, we don't all just like say, hey, that does make sense. And now start looking at the motherfuckers that are allowing this and remove them. And well, how would we remove them? We're the majority. We need to speak up and let them know we're done with this shit. Go fucking cry in your milk. We're not playing this game. And no, Owen's not getting fucking canceled. In fact, he's getting a special. And then start rewarding people that stood up and fucking told the truth and gave their opinion, whether we liked it or not. Because, dude, that's, to me, what everybody should do.
Yeah,
not violently.
100%. That's why our slogan was a hill to grow on. Because people are like, oh, this is your hill to die on. I'm like, we're not dying. Hill to grow on. Persistence is fertile. Just build it. And it really got the people going because I'm like, we can just build alternatives and then just grow that. And because we kept saying,
you got 70,000 people that watch you every day streaming.
Yeah. And that festival, we crowdfunded $400 a person, bought 53 acres, have festivals on with little kids playing.
See, now people need to hear about this.
Dude, it's crazy. It's the coolest story.
Good, wholesome family fun.
Yeah. They're
free from all the seeds of evil being planted in our fields.
Yeah. And we'll win because that nonsense is only going to get worse until it can't function. My buddy wrote a book called Corporate Cancer, where once you start going down that road, it's pure inversion until it. That's why I studied tyrannical governments in college. Like, this is what happened in Eastern Europe, where it gets to the point where nothing works and then you have starvations. And so it's why I try to get people to grow gardens and develop communities and all that stuff, because we'll win. We're absolutely going to win.
Where are these acres? And
we got Missouri and then North Idaho.
How do people find those?
Well, you can go to Bertaria campgrounds and check it out. But the new special I'm telling you about is we shot it on the land. So, a lot of people like my comedy. They're like, yeah, $400, no problem. And then we bought land without debt, and we have a festival once a year. We've had 3.
Well, how do you get tickets to those?
You have to know some people.
How do you get included in the Bertaria community?
Well, that's the thing, is like getting there. It's like in the middle of the country. Like, people take like epic pilgrimages. Dude, it's so fun.
Is it like Burning Man for comedians?
It's like Building Man, dude. And it's so funny. It's the same weekend as Burning Man. It's the exact opposite. Like, my audience built a children's play structure, and you have like 80 kids just playing on it. And then people are like doing, we grow cows on the land and we're eating the hamburgers from the land. And then people are like, oh, that's a cult. I'm like, I go once a year. No, we just do it once a year. How's that a cult? You know
well,
what
dude,
I mean?
it sounds like a group of like-minded people getting together and having fun.
Dude, the Amish are crushing right now. Like I live near Amish and Mennonites. Dude, they don't give an F about trans kids. They're like, dude, we can move a barn in a half hour. And I'm like, those guys get it. And that's where we get a bunch of our flour from. And they build great chicken coops.
They build everything great.
Dude, and my wife's making cheese now. We're selling it on a farm stand. That's why I don't know what I do for a living anymore. You're like, are you a comedian? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like a farming, like comedian, bard.
But you're off grid, so to speak.
I'm getting, I'm just trying to take away any dependence because that's where the control is, where it's like, you know, if you like their service, you better like some weird shit in the bathroom, you know? And so I'm like, I don't want your services.
Yeah, but like to me, that's an extreme that I would take at certain levels, but not like, I don't think we're anywhere near me giving up creature comforts. Like, for example, my wife and I, when they were talking about everybody getting and you know, you're always playing the what if game, you know, what if they came door to door and like held you down? And
right.
Well, that's when I'd get in the fucking truck and I'd be catching fish and living where you can't see me. And if you come up there and try and get me, dude, we got a problem. So it's like I'll get the fuck out of society if it gets ridiculous. But there's so many people that like, where's that line for people? Because you would think it'd already be crossed. You would think there'd be million-man marches against these things, but there never are. There's always a million-man marches for these things, and it makes no sense to me. Like there's that many people, like in like social media, for example. I believe with every ounce of my soul that social media does not want Trump in the presidency.
Yeah, for sure.
So they let's so to say backed Kamala. Okay. So they're making it seem like she's got a ton of support all over the nation, but yet nobody I talk to ever says, oh yeah, and here's why, and this is intelligent. It's just always a few people that are like, you know, obviously not that bright.
Yeah.
So the majority on Twitter, when Elon fucking asked, like 15 million people were asked, Trump or Kamala. They said fucking Trump, like 90% or some stupid amount out of 15 million people. Then you see CNN's poll where they're tied, dead heat. You know, how many people did they ask? 100? And where did you ask them? At the fucking Democratic convention? Like, what are you talking about? How are they in dead tie?
Well,
like,
this is when my conspiratorial...
That's media, though. That's media right there. It's a narrative that a certain few families get to determine. So if they want you to believe everyone's against Trump and everyone's against each other and to segregate is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like they think that I remember not so much anymore now, but the racial tension is growing where like, you know, there's racial tension. And it's like everybody that I knew from a different race, nobody feels it. Well, but they keep saying it. And then what happens? You get fucking racial tension. It's almost like, dude, there's like this is the conspiracy that there's an evil cabal running shit. Yeah, but like all evidence kind of points to that, if you ask me.
Dude, totally.
So being in Hollywood, did you see the underbelly of Hollywood?
Yeah, towards the end, I started putting some pieces together. And you're totally right about the race thing too. It's like, because I don't believe in protected classes. I think it's actually very cruel to do to someone where it's like, you can't do a black joke. They can't handle it. I'm like, that's like one of the cruelest things you can do. Like,
I think it was Morgan Freeman. I'm not sure who it was, but someone said something about you want to have a Black History Month. And Morgan Freeman said, I want you to stop talking about it. I want it to not be a fucking thing.
It's so condescending.
You know, but then again, a lot of other people, you know, they want reparations. And, you know, to me, it's like, dude, because I'm empathetic, I think I'm an empath.
Yeah, totally.
I can feel for people. Like, again, if you're a little kid that happens to, you know, think you're trapped in a body, I can understand that. You know, I can understand the confusion, the scared, and the society ain't going to like it, so you can't be free. And so cool, you know, hug them, support them if you want to. So again, if a dad says, well, my kid can make a decision, it's not that I don't understand. It's like, can't you fucking wait until they're an adult?
Totally.
I used to want a fucking Superman tattoo on my fucking chest. I'm sure glad I fucking couldn't get one.
Dude, I wanted to be a ninja. I fell off a roof. I was a fat kid.
But that's my point. Like, this is a child we're talking about. This is not a grown person that gets to decide. This is a child, your child. Why would you facilitate that just because they think that? Say, great, I'll support you. I'll love you. I'll freaking do everything. I'll buy you dresses. But you're not going to make that decision until you become legal to do your own thing. And by the way, even if the parent said, I want to let him, well, again, the doctor should say no. There should be no transitioning for people that are not of age. And what's of age? Well, you guys decide that. Make the age 16 then. But 6 years old? When I was 6 years old, dude, I wanted to freaking do all kinds of shit that I'm glad no one let me do. You know, I can't drink a beer till I'm 18. Or 21, but I can freaking literally change my body. And you don't think I might regret that? You don't think I might be confused because I watched the wrong program and I got programmed incorrectly? You don't think that would be life altering shit?
Yeah, like imagine if you identify as a pirate, like would you like take your eye out? You know, it's like...
That's what they should let you do. And then you want to know what else? They don't let people legally commit suicide.
Yeah.
Like, dude, listen, this might sound macabre and weird, but if you want to die and you're sure you want to die and you're of sound mind and you go to a doctor, I think there should be assisted suicides. It's my fucking life and I'm tired of living it. I'm tired of doing this. I just want to peacefully go to sleep and not wake up. I think you should let them. But after a series of psychological evaluations and all the bullshit, because yes, obviously, if someone's mentally ill, I wouldn't want to. Don't you think they would regret that? They may, but they'd be dead. So at the end of the day, I believe people should have their own individuality and their own individual rights, but not trample on everybody else's to get them. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and if you do want to commit suicide, I have a right to tell you that that's gay, though, too.
Yeah, you do.
And so this is the... But you can do it.
And by the way, you shouldn't be canceled because you know what? A lot of people would disagree with that thought, and that's okay.
Totally.
But to me, it's like, and I'm
it's
open.
Your choice.
I'm open to changing my mind.
Too. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like, it's your choice. And I think evil hates kids. I think that's why they do it. Because I used to think it was money, and it's not even money.
Evil hates innocence.
Exactly. Because they'll never have that joy. Like my kids, you know, they'll just be like laughing and playing because they have one balloon. You know, and here it's like, oh, I went to the Sphere, Coldplay, I was on Molly, kind of a buzzkill. My kids have like a spork. They're like, ah. And so people that are hollowed out are like, I'll never feel that joy and I'm worth $1 billion. So I'm going to try and get him to cut off his own ween. You know, it's like that sick, man. It's almost like...
Do you believe that is the case?
It made me more like spiritual and have more faith and actually more optimistic because I do see that they still have to comply to the high law, which allows you to not be forced. It's like what you were saying, I'll go to the wilderness if they try and force me. That's why they don't, because you would. Like they can't really force you. Like I comply with all kinds of shit, taxes, speed limits, all kinds of shit.
Things that make sense to you.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not holding a line for a lot. I'm like, but you're not going to... Someone who gets awards for population reduction is not going to inject a mystery fluid in my body. You know, at that point, I will have goats. But like, I'll comply, dude. I'm a team player until people start getting weird with kids or like mystery fluid injections.
Do you think, like if you could do it over, you wouldn't have said anything?
No, it's ended up way better, dude.
I know, but will you say that again?
My life's way better than it would have been. And I know like, that sounds crazy, but it really is. Like I probably wouldn't even have 4 kids. I'd be on the road. It's like, I've learned so much. Dude, my property's like, dude, we had a rainbow go right down, like right in my property. It's like a joke how beautiful it is. And it was all in response to like a text. I never would have done that. I'm like pretty easygoing with shit.
Yeah, because if I didn't talk to you first and someone said, what do you think happened with this guy, Owen Benjamin? I'd have said, well, he's a fucking comedian, so he probably thought he was being fucking funny and thought he'd get a bunch of attention from it, and he got the wrong motherfucker's attention. And now they booted his ass off the platform. But he didn't probably, like, he's not out to stand against it. He was probably being fucking funny, and it was not that funny to the wrong person, and it cost him. Cost him what, though? Well, that's where people speculate. They don't realize, dude, it didn't cost him anything. In fact, it saved him.
100%.
Because what if you'd have ended up, you know, the big famous guy, but now you're dancing for them? Because, dude, I believe there are puppeteers over Hollywood.
Yes. Dude, money's debt, family's wealth. I tell this to people. I'm like, don't get me wrong, getting rich is great, but it's like an obligation to create with it and to serve.
Don't you think you can get both, though?
100%. Like, that's...
But if you had your platform back, you'd be making a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, but at what price? You know, I tell that to people about stay-at-home moms and homeschooling. They're like, well, if my wife quits her job, we will make less money. I'm like, yeah, but if you homeschool and she's home, you get way healthier. You don't have to go to like a nursing home. Your kids will take care of you. You have labor. I'm like, dude, my 8-year-old busks with a violin for money. I'm like Fagin. I'm like counting the shit. You know, I'm like, dude, so what's your wife make? 40 an hour? So you pay 15 for childcare. How much for like the gay therapies you're going to have to do in the nursing home? I'm like, dude, family's wealth. You know, like trust, respect, skill set. Like my brother's an arborist. You could drop him anywhere. He can get a gig for $1,500 by knocking on a door and being like, your oak tree's fucked up. You know, it's like, just like that with skills. Like I know dudes in Idaho that are richer than anyone in Hollywood. Like thousands of acres, supply all the food, and they're like normal dudes, and it's all about family and trust.
So do you think that Hollywood is run by evil, satanistic pedophiles?
Well, they're just hollowed out. They're totally puppeted. They're like...
But someone has to be the puppeteers.
Yeah, I mean...
It's the ones you don't know about. It's the ones calling the shots. I'm
name.
calling the guy that you think is in control, and I'm telling him what to do.
100%.
And if he doesn't do what I tell him to do, he'll end up freaking broke or dead.
The higher up the ladder, the more they have no say. That's the funniest part. Where it's like the higher up you go, the more everything they do is like part of the plan. Like they don't even think. They just have to. And then there has to be a layer. And is it a man? Is it like the devil? I don't know. But someone invented money. Someone... You know, there's layers that I don't think people even like realize. You know, someone invented money. You know, like a piece of paper, and they're like, that's worth this. That's why I like silver and gold and shit like that. Like tools, heavy machinery, land.
So you're off the grid, so to speak.
Well, I mean, I have a grid. Like I'm on the electric grid. Like I'm in a house, but I have a year-round greenhouse, firewood. But my kids are in
Idaho.
Yeah, but it's like a nice area. It's not like I'm like
where?
Sandpoint.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We live near Schweitzer Mountain. You know, our homeschooling crew is great. Like people do really well there. It's not like I'm like the Unabomb. Like people picture me like all Unabombed out, and I'm not. I'm like, we have a great community, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, again, I mean, even if you didn't get canceled, that sounds like a great community.
Dude, awesome. I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I'd be less of a dick. Like I used to be resentful and I'm not at all anymore. Like some of the people that were like talking trash when I knew they were lying, they were just afraid. They just didn't want to lose their lollipops. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially why anyone would just shut up.
Yeah. And I'm grateful. You know, I was thinking about, I was bitching and like, oh, Chappelle made 40 million, my joke. And I'm called this. And I'm like, but what would I trade? I have 4 kids. Like how much money for one of your kids? Like there's no money. How much money to wake up healthy tomorrow? How much money to like not have to go into a men's bathroom with fucking tampons in it? You know, there's like no money for this stuff.
But you know, unless you're the tampon vendor.
Dude, I want to be the tampon vendor. I'm looking into it. I'm buying some small businesses. Dude, I'm puppeted by Big Tampon. Dude, I actually had a theory that it was like a toilet paper company that did COVID just to sell like tons of toilet paper.
And why did the toilet paper sell? I never understood that.
Dude, some Jungian archetype of people obsessing with their ass and fear times. I have no idea. they're social engineer guys that know human psyche in ways I can't imagine.
But like, water, I understand running out of like people stocking up on essentials, but who decided toilet paper was what everybody had to have?
Deep shame and dependence.
And then do you think China was involved? Because again, everybody started buying billions of dollars of masks and PPE from China.
Yeah. And dude, my area, like there's like noble families that are like rich as hell, do all the food. They said no to China. They were trying to buy all our hay and they're like, no. And I was like thinking about it. I'm friends with these guys. I'm like, how do they have the power to do that? No debt. They're like, no, we're going to sell it locally. Imagine if you're in debt, the bank's like, now you got to sell it to China and then you have to. And that's why it's all about like financial stability. That's why I love what you do with the business stuff, because that really is an anchor so people can be more moral and not afraid, Well, that is a benefit for growing your own business, because you can do what you want and you don't have to bend. But a lot of people still that own businesses, they bend because of the almighty dollar. Totally.
Most people aren't going to be able to find your level of, I would say, enlightenment to realize that, the money's not real value.
No.
Because when you get old and sick and you're about to die, you don't care how much money you have. No, you're not looking at all the trophies you won. You're saying, bring my children, bring my family. You're saying goodbye to people. People is more valuable. I like what you said, family's wealth and money's debt.
Yeah. Like I've hosted award shows with like DiCaprio, like just crushing. And, Anne Hathaway's like, is that like saying I'm a genius and shit on stage. And I'm like all the Hollywood kings backstage. I'll never forget this. This dude who's getting this award, he's looking out and he's like, look how young they are. And I'm like, not like pedo stuff, but like envy. And this dude's like one of the kings of Hollywood. And I'm like, man, just being younger, he has envy. And I've like know these people. I've
no amount of money will get it.
No, and then if you live right when you're 80, you don't feel envy. You're like, man, what a life. I'm surrounded by my posterity. And there's no money for that.
I was going to say, I'd almost envy the opposite. Like if I were 90, I wouldn't be envying someone 20 because they may not make it to 90.
Right. Yeah, no, that's real value. And then money does come. I mean, with real value, money just flows. It's like, I've witnessed that with my own thing. Like I'm not doing bad. At first it was insane. It was a little terrifying, but over time I'm like, holy shit, YouTube was like holding out on me. I'm like, if I just sell directly, I get a better cut. I get to do more, better value. People don't have to watch like shitty ads for like an insurance company with some like sassy asshole,
You don't have to lie.
I don't have to lie.
So folks, let's go support this dude. Go to owenbenjamin.com and download the special. Must Be Nice. The old special.
Yeah, let me know what you think.
Is that what it's called? Must Be Nice?
Must Be Nice, yeah. And it's clean but edgy. It's like, it's high quality. The guys did a great job. And my audience built it. Like the whole story is epic. Like they did the lights. Did you have
an audience there and everything?
Yeah.
So you filmed a special.
Yeah, it's like a full blown. It's better than some of the Netflix special quality.
You'd think Joe Rogan would be a fan of yours.
I've done his show 3 times and no, he's cool. I support, I wish him well.
But I mean, he's got the mothership. How come he doesn't use his leverage? Same reason?
We've had some feuds.
But I mean, do you think, because again, I mean, Joe's got a lot of money. He can say fuck off about any time he wants.
That's true. But he didn't like some of my tweets. It's all right. I wish him well. He didn't like some of my tweets. It's all good. I made fun of him for being short.
Is he short?
He's pretty. I don't want to talk any shit at all. Like I use a early adopter.
Not against Joe Rogan, dude. He'll fucking kick you.
Dude, he'll kick me right in the shin. That's how they take down.
But dude, Joe Rogan to me is kind of a level-headed dude. Like yeah. He's good, open-minded arguments. So like I like his style because he, even though he believes and leans, he's open to leaning back if you give a good argument. So I would think that he would agree with your views on certain things, and so he would want to help you establish this fuck the man thing. Because really, if everybody in Dropping Bombs that listens to this just purely loves your spirit, well, they should go watch your special just to earn money for you and support you. Go to Bertaria
campgrounds. Yeah, and about like I can be a little autistic with comedy. So in Rogan's defense, like he's operating a business better than I ever would, and like a community in like an actual way to build up all these guys, and that's why I respect him as like a leader of alternative comedy.
Yeah.
But I'm like a craftsman weirdo with that. I'm more like Tesla-ish, where I'm like, no, there's no words that I'm banned from, because that's the start of communism. Like I learned that in Eastern Europe. It's like the minute this guy can say a word and this guy can't based on an arbitrary thing, that's when it all goes to hell, like Solzhenitsyn and all this. And so some of the stances I've taken, I can see how a good dude would be like, dude, Owen's losing his mind. But I'm like, so many steps, I'm not trying to brag at all, but I'm like way steps ahead of like, we can't give up any of this territory. And so, yeah, I mean, Rogan's doing a good job. He's like having Trump on Friday. I give him a lot of respect for that. And I wish him well, but I'm like, I can be a little off-putting, I think, with some of my stances.
Well, assuming this episode doesn't get deleted,
it won't.
taken
It'll be
down,
fine. Yeah.
or get me canceled, I'll have you back as often as you want to come shoot the shit. Because unfortunately, I didn't give enough time for this. I could have kept going for another hour and a half.
Me too. This has been so funny.
So would you come back one of these days?
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything like West Coast is like not bad. I can just fly here and go home. It's awesome.
All right, good. So Bomb Squad, number one, if you want to, go support the dude. Go watch his special. Go to Bertaria campgrounds.
Or unauthorized.tv too. That's where all my, and I'm also on Rumble. I do Rumble every day and all the alternative ones.
Yeah, go follow him at Owen Benjamin. You can Google him. He's been around the block. He's been on big ass stages. He's been on shows. He's freaking, the dude. I would assume there's people that have heard of you, because I get a lot of people listening. A lot of people have heard of you.
Yeah.
But for those of you that live under a rock and didn't know who he was, now you know. So go give him some support. I'm going to have you back.
I love it, man.
Bomb Squad, share this out. Get him support. If you know somebody that loves the message or would enjoy this, shoot it over to him. Until next time, keep it real.